Greetings everyone, and this is Video Scott from the Racer 7 Productions YouTube channel saying Happy 9th anniversary to the Loud House, everyone! I knew I had to do something for this special occasion. I decided to go back to where the show started airing. Long story short, lots of people were excited when commercials for the Loud House appeared before the show even aired, and it quickly became popular when it first started airing. Imagine that, a show that had just came out and it was already competing with SpongeBob. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush and tell you why the Loud House saved Nickelodeon, but it was the show that saved Nickelodeon. However, recovery takes a long time and there are still some things in the network that need to be changed. Yeah, like, just because the Loud House saved Nickelodeon doesn't mean it saved it completely, because you know how Nickelodeon's corporate structure works. It's usually the executives that made all the bad decisions in Nickelodeon, not the show itself. Yeah, it's the executives responsible for ruining Nickelodeon, not the show itself. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But anyways, let's take a look at the very first episode of The Loud House, known as Left in the Dark. Our episode begins with the usual intro and title card. Lincoln Loud is looking forward to his favorite show called ARK, but as you might have known, he has to deal with 10 of his sisters. I can relate, as I always had to put up with my brothers, and anyone who has a large family can relate too. But we also see something that never appeared in the trailers. Yep, that's right, it's Clyde McBride. Like Mr. Enter, my opinions on Clyde are mixed. I have a love-hate relationship with him. On one hand, he is your stereotypical nerd with allergies, but he can also cook. He is often called a plot device, as he is usually there to move the plot on certain episodes. The crazy thing is that the trailers never mention Clyde at all. The trailers always focus on the family aspect of the show itself. But anyways, Lincoln sees the twins walk around and they're both excited about watching cartoons. And that's crazy considering that Lola's favorite show in later seasons is Prison Pageant, but they never establish if it's a cartoon or a live action show in the show itself. He sees this as a plan to distract them. He gets out a plate and presents them with cookies. That's biscuits, to where your Brits live, and tea. While this gets Lola excited, Lana isn't that excited about it. However, he always has a plan. He gets out 2 of Lana's pet frogs and shows them to her. This gets Lana excited as 2 of her pet frogs are invited to the tea party. Next up is Luann, as she was heading downstairs to watch TV as well. Lincoln convinces Luann to grab her video camera, which is probably a camcorder, and he sees the twins fighting. Luann actually runs over to get her camera and decides to film them, as she sees this as an opportunity to post a video that'll become viral according to what she mentioned. He then sees Lisa and Lily walk around, and Lincoln tells her that he has the items that she needs for one of her science experiments. He actually gives Lisa the ingredients, and she takes them into her room right before LJ, aka one of the more infamous characters in the Loud House, shows up and wants to watch one of her sports games. Yeah, let's hope it's not college football, as it can go on for a very long time. And then he shows her a helium-filled football, which Lynn likes, as he tells her that it is made for the extreme player that demands more. Lenny then shows up right before Lincoln throws the football and Lynn catches it. Lenny, being Lenny, thinks that a spider is crawling on her head right after Lincoln gets her attention. He tricks her into thinking that a zit appeared on the end of her nose. This actually fools Lenny and she runs into the bathroom. But it doesn't mean that Lenny is completely dumb. I mean, she is like Goofy and sometimes doesn't know how the world works. She is actually a smart character like Goofy, despite what people might tell you otherwise. Luna appears next, and it is hinted that she intends on watching a rock and roll related show. Probably a live concert on TV. I actually like her reaction and decided to play it again. Yeah, Luna's reaction is priceless in this video, and I like the quote, "Tonight's TV is gonna be rockin'!" Yeah. Lincoln shows her a flashlight that he probably put together himself that has a rotating color wheel, and convinces her that she could have her own rock and roll show in her own bedroom. Gotta admit, he can be a genius sometimes. Lori then shows up and looks for her cell phone. It turns out that Lincoln has it. Of course, you should never touch her stuff. which is what Lori tells him, and we get another funny quote after Lori calls Bobby. "Thanks for nothing, twerp." This is a reference to Fairly Odd Parents. As established earlier, Clyde has an obsession over Lori, but please don't ship him with her. I prefer not to talk about it. Thank you very much. Lily is then sleeping by Lincoln, and Lincoln puts her down on the baby bed. Or at least, Charles's dog bed. Yeah, I think it looks like Charles's dog bed, and yeah, don't let Charles see Lily sleep. Just take her to the crib and he'll be fine. Yeah, Charles would be fine. And Lily would be still sleeping by the time she's in her crib. But wait! We are forgetting about one more sister, aren't we? Yeah, that Dathomir sister that always appears out of nowhere. The reason why I call her a Dathomir is because, well, she has the traits of a vampire. She doesn't suffer from vampire weaknesses like sunlight and whatnot. Which means that she is half human, half vampire. Something that is established in later seasons of the show itself. Of course, she sneaks up on him and spooks him. Hence why he always forgets about her. She wants to watch her show, Vampires of Melancholia. Yeah, you'd think that her being into spooky stuff, she would watch ARG as well, right? Well, no, she's into a different show. Lincoln tries to plead to Lucy to watch his show, but Lucy tells him the rules of the house. And she was here first. As well, she showed up out of nowhere. This frustrates Lincoln. Yeah, I know that feeling. Lincoln picks up a remote and licks it, but it is revealed that she has the other remote, and that one was in the toilet. While Lucy talks to herself, Lincoln gets the idea, as she mentioned, if only he was from another century, and Lincoln does tell her that he is going to watch his show on Mr. Loud's old black and white TV, while Lucy watches her show on the color TV. Of course, Lucy mentions that black and whites are her favorite colors. Fan of classic horror, I see. He does try to convince Lucy that it'll make the show more spooky, but Lucy happens to like spooky stuff as well. Convinced, Lucy wants the old TV brought down. Lincoln just so happens to bring down the old TV, which is pretty heavy as it is a CRT, and as he plugs it in, the house loses power. Yeah, people complain about the show being unrealistic in later episodes, but guess what? It was never realistic to begin with. I'm sure that plugging in an old TV would never make an entire house lose power in real life, as I own a color CRT myself. In fact, I could show you. See, this is my color CRT, a Sharp CRT TV, and in the Loud House, the black and white CRT that was plugged into the house itself made the house lose power, and this usually doesn't happen in real life, even when people are on a budget. So I'm actually going to prove it. See, look. The house doesn't actually lose power. If I turn it on, whoops, see. Power button on the battery doesn't work, so I have to go over there and press the power button here. See, look. It doesn't make the house lose power, but it will raise your electric bill somewhat. That's just the light bulb going wonky, because it's a wonky light bulb. It's not the house losing power. There's still power there. So yeah. Show became less realistic in later episodes, everyone. Even though the show was never realistic to begin with. Can we please enjoy the show for what it is? And move on? Well, good. Anyways, let's go back to the review. This creates another problem for Lincoln's sisters. Lori, of course, blames this on Lincoln. After Luann eats a cookie, she glows in the dark. Now, this is another reason why the show isn't always realistic. Lisa's experiments would never work in real life, and she is a smart 4, now 5-year-old child, which is also impossible in real life. Lori warned Lisa not to use her siblings as experiments, and we cut to a flashback of Lenny's head being overly inflated because of one of Lisa's experiments. Lisa establishes that the cookie that she ate, well, that's Luann, by the way, is one of her Glowios, which is a cookie that has the DNA of a jellyfish inside of it. This can't work in real life. The best part is because of Luann, the other sisters could use her as a light while the power is out. The siblings figure out a way to restore power, but before that could happen, Lincoln has to count how many siblings are there, and like before, Lucy spooks Lincoln as she appeared out of nowhere. Lincoln tells Laurie that the circuit breaker is in the basement. Right before the siblings could go down in the basement, Luann's effects wear off. Unfortunately, Luann ate the only Glowio that Lisa made. The Loud sisters get scared as they have to go down into the basement, but Lincoln quiets them down and gives the twins a hug. As he does that, he makes a vow to protect all of his sisters. He then gets Clyde to come over, and the minute he sees Laurie, he leaves. Yeah, like, you're gonna see this joke a lot. Lincoln decides to go down in the basement and finds out that his night vision goggles, in quotations by the way, are just a toy. It is revealed that Luann's camera has a night vision setting, and once he finds that out, he goes down into the basement. Of course, he has to bring his sisters with. The sisters get scared once they hear what they think are scary sounds. Even Lily soils her own diaper while this is going on. This is probably why several people think that this show focused on potty humor, even though there's barely any of it in the show itself. You'll have to watch a full season to find out. Lincoln then sees what he thinks is a ghost, and once the power goes back on, it's just a laundry basket. Clyde talks to Lincoln on his walkie-talkie, and even when he hears Laurie, he still freaks out. Yeah, like, we see this joke a lot of Clyde freaking out whenever he sees Laurie, but Bobby, when he finds that out, would probably get angry. Yeah, don't mention it to Bobby, please don't. Lincoln then starts racing his sisters to the couch itself. He actually makes it to the couch first, but the episode already ended by the time he turned on the TV, and this frustrates him. Yeah, I know that feeling. This scene also got memed, and people use it whenever something bad happens, as it is it's a relatable scene in the show itself. It's quite relatable. Laurie gives him some popcorn, and Luann hooks up the camcorder to the TV. The sisters enjoy watching what he had filmed. As the episode ends, we get our fourth wall break, and Lincoln gives us an important life lesson on being together. As he mentioned, it's not always about being here first, but being together. So, what do I think of the episode? I mean, it's good, but it's not the best episode of the series itself. It's only the first season, and shows usually have a rough start, but also improve in later seasons. Contrary to what people assume, I do not look at The Loud House as some perfect masterpiece. Episodes like these show that no show is perfect. Even when it just starts out, it still gets an 8 out of 10 for me, or 7.5 out of 10 if you were to use the decimal system. In my opinion, Season 1 of The Loud House isn't the best season of the show. As mentioned previously, the trailers did not mention Clyde, and he was a surprise to the show itself. And as for the sisters, each one of them have varied personalities. They're all great characters. Some, like Lola and Laurie, have more complex and deeper personalities, while some, like Luann, have personalities that are simpler and can be described in a single sentence. And I actually like Lynn Jr., even though a lot of people hate her. If you hate her, that's fine. That's completely fine. You're allowed to hate her, as some people hate her because of one infamous episode they'll never mention. I understand that, like, you hate her because of that episode. But she can be a good character once the writers know how to write her well. It just comes down to how she is written in each episode. She is the only Loud sister that has this distinction and inconsistency. She's kind of like the Scorponok of the Loud House, and I am talking about the Scorponok for Beast Wars, by the way. If this video gets a lot of views, I will review Get the Message next. But anyways, I'm gonna go sign off for now. Feel free to watch my other Loud House episode review if you're interested. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell just in case if you haven't already done so. Catch you guys next time, and here's to a great 9 years of The Loud House. Peace out.